his name is Quivel. You know, just kind of. I guess one thing that you'll always see usually how his hood up on his cloak and kind of hiding his face a little bit, but really just nondescript. Most people kind of think of him more than a half elf because he really doesn't ever have facial hair or anything like that. But no, that's about it.
All right. Well, I'm Enigma on the Discord, but I'm playing a gnome ranger by the name of Gilly Timbers. He's a forest gnome. I mean, this is my first time playing, so I mean, I'm gonna roll with it and see what happens.
That's all good.
I got my gnome back here.
Okay.
Backstab damage.
Yeah. So I'll be going into character, so I may have. I mean, you might hear a bit of Shrek in my talkings, in my dialogue. So
That's cool.
Alrighty. Gavin?
Well, my character name is Gavin Oren Ashdane Temper. He's a noble, hence the ridiculously long name. He's a young male wizard. He comes from a family with that hasn't distinguished itself yet with its members since the founder who gained the noble status, sorcerer. The family hasn't had someone who is famous as an adventurer or something like that, and I intend to change that.
Alrighty. And last but not least, Gary.
I am Gary Diamonds on Discord, and I am playing Findle Trunket. He's a tiny little guy, little gnome guy. He's got kind of a weird-looking gloves on, and he's got a top hat. He's got a nice little top hat. It's a black top hat. He's pretty happy with that top hat. He's a happy little guy.
Oh.
And that's all I'll say for now.
Okay. That's fair. Alrighty. Well, so we're going to bring this in, we'll do a little overview of what's going on in the world as we see this. We are coming into a alternate version of the Forgotten Realms. There's been quite a few happenings going on in the region. The town of Phandalin has been having its share of adventures between orc raids and bandits, and recently a white dragon has moved into the area. Sightings of that have become increasingly frequent over the past few weeks. You guys have all, your characters have all heard these rumors and seen and whatnot as you made your way to the little port town of Saltmarsh, which is about 25 miles from the town of Lelyn, along the trade road that connects most of the major cities of the Sword Coast. Coming into Saltmarsh, it's a small little fishing town, port town. It's got a lot of history. Lately, it's been kind of on an increase. There's a group of dwarves that have moved into the region to start excavating locally for precious minerals. With increasing trade with the continent of Eberron, there has been an increase in more of these materials because one of the big projects that a lot of the city-states have all kind of banded together with is to import Eberron tech, specifically the lightning rail that will connect all of the Sword Coast from as far south as Baldur's Gate all the way to Luskan in the far north before the Spine of the World. So with this, there's definitely been an increase in the demand for precious metals to facilitate this construction. The town is kind of at odds with this sudden increase in attention. They're used to having to fend for themselves a lot, and right now, with having such an increase in attention, there's some controversy amongst the various groups within the town. Some of them are all for having increased presence in the region. Some of them are like, no, let's not change the way things are. And then you have another one's like, hey, trying to sabotage everything in between. So it's a mixed bag in this town, just like with any other port city or any other kind of city state. You guys have all been y'all have coming into Saltmarsh and just kind of wandering through the town. So with that, kind of put this off for you guys and let me know where you guys want to explore the town.
Who will go first?
Whoever wants to go first.
Is there a tavern or a job postings board?
Yes, there is. There are several taverns and establishments within the city. One of the most notable is the Wicker Goat, which is fairly close to the main entrance, the main kind of gate. Saltmarsh used to be the current town of Saltmarsh used to be is a rebuild of something that was there a long time ago. It's sometimes referred to like the old harbor town. The remnant of that, there's as you guys came into the town, there's this large stone wall that kind of connects between two hills with a guardhouse a lot for the road. The wall is in tremendous disrepair. But it's still quasi-functional. As you pass that and then head down the main path, you come across the Wicker Goat. It's a fairly large tavern. It's owned by a Lankus Curid. He's an old retired military officer who's kind of set this place up. His clientele is typically the dwarven miners from the nearby mine, as well as the local town guard. They like to hang out in this particular establishment.
Can I start off in the inn?
She may.
I kind of want to go up to the bartender.
Okay.
And I'll say hi. I'm very short. I barely come up to the counter. So I'm saying hi. What do you have to drink?
Got a number of fine ales. How could I help you, my small friend?
I was kind of hoping to get a drink, and I had a very strange question, but you might be able to help me out.
Okay. Well, drink aplenty. Reach it over. Do you think you could handle a pint, or would you prefer something smaller?
Oh, probably something smaller.
All right. He kind of shuffles under the bar and pulls out what is essentially just a small, what looks like a coffee cup or something like that, and fills it with some ale and tries to hand it over to you.
That's perfect. I also was wondering if you could spare any butter.
Butter?
If I could buy any butter from you. There is a plan to this.
I'm sure there is.
I need it for one of my spells, so I figure the tavern would probably be something like I could get like a bit of something.
Oh yeah, it's totally there. He kind of is like Sure, you could buy some butter.
Oh, fantastic. I use it for inventions.
Alrighty. Well, he signals one of the wait staff to and tells them to go back to the kitchen to grab a small thing of butter for you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to go and sit down and drink.
We all know each other, right?
If that's how you want to do, yeah. Or you can meet each other. Where are you starting off? In this same tavern?
Yeah, I believe it's for the best that we know each other. Skip the introductions to each other characters.
Okay.
Since we did that.
Okay, cool.
That works.
I'll go up to the barkeep. I'll order some ale for me and my friends here over there. And I'll use the opportunity to ask him about anything strange happening in the city, in the town lately.
Well, Mr. Gavin, well, I will go ahead and have some stuff sent over to your table. As for strange going-ons, there's always something around here. These dwarves moving into the area. They're exploring the mines and it's all kinds of stories coming from them. And then, of course, there's the local lore about the this haunted house that's just outside of town. There's also been but if you want to know more, you're gonna have to talk to the gravedigger. He spends a lot of time studying up on the history of this place. As for anything more specific, other than just some idle gossip, then you're gonna want to head in and talk to any one of the council members, and they're predominantly inside the council hall in the center of town by the docks and the market.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
I'll go and repeat that information to my friends at the table and bring them some ale that I ordered. How much will it cost me?
These 6, 5. How many? We have 5. 2 electrum, and we'll be good.
How much is 2 electrum in gold pieces?
Takes 10 electrum to make a gold, so it'd be, if you gave him a gold piece, you'd be more than paying for the drinks and then a few rounds afterwards.
Okay. What do I see around the tavern? Do I see some other people, dwarves?
Yes, you do. You see a collection of dwarves. There's one particular female dwarf that is seems to be a little louder than the others, and you almost can tell that the other dwarves kind of pay deference to her, like she's a person of authority. Then there's some other there are other humans and regulars that frequent. You can tell this place because of the clientele this place has. It's fairly low key, but there's a steady stream of conversations. The dwarves kind of stick off into the corner, and you can see there's like every few minutes there's someone who brings over another platter of mugs for them to drink. So it's a pretty interesting crew as you survey them.
Okay, I'll go back to our table with the ale, and I'll I'll tell everything that I heard from the barkeep
All right.
to Gilly and Quail, right?
Right. Righto, mate. What'd you get us there? What are we having tonight?
Oh, it's the usual local ale.
Sounds great. So who is the loud winch over there to the side?
That would be Manistrad. She runs the Dwarven Mine.
I see. And what are they digging for in that mine?
Precious metals of some type. It's kind of it could be a new expansion from one of the dwarf citadels. Who knows?
Oh,
I
and
like
who-
metal. Metal's great.
and who's the one in charge? Who's the one that ordered the mining of these materials?
I was on the behest of the Lords of Waterdeep to foster better relations with the and kind of help with gathering more resources.
Should we go introduce ourselves?
Thinking we may have to, but I may watch them a little bit longer. Just want to see what kind of folk they really are. You never can really trust a dwarf.
Well, that's true.
All right. Yeah, as the day wears on, you see some dwarves come in, some dwarves leave. Eventually, Minstrel does head back over to the mines. And then things kind of quiet down a little bit without the dwarves and their drinking.
What time is it?
It's about mid-afternoon at this point.
Okay. And he told us about the house or what have you.
Yeah, he said
What
if you
is
wanted to know more about that, you'd probably have to go talk to the guy who maintains the cemetery on the other side of town. He's
yeah.
spends a lot of time studying the various lore and history, so he would have more information for you. Anything more specific about any type of job prospects or any other looking for work things, your best bet is to go to the council hall to speak with any of the council members that are there.
Okay. So what does everyone want to do?
I've been having some troubles listening. Like here, it's got some like double
What's that?
full sound every time, so it's kind of just saying. I don't know if anybody else is having that problem.
You have a slight echo on yours, like it's almost like the compression as it's coming across the stream.
Guys,
Yeah,
should we
that's what I'm hearing. So
should we go and talk to the council members to, get some jobs?
That's probably a good idea. I don't have a lot of money, so make some however we can.
that job would be good.
Let's do that.
I'm ready to get out of this town.
Okay.
All right.
So head to the council building.
Alrighty. As you make your way out of the tavern and travel up toward the council building, it's a fairly large, predominant building in the center of town. Directly across from it are the docks and the major market. Some other items of points of interest around the council house are There's another tavern near to it. It's called the Snapping Line. This one's a little. This one definitely has a different vibe to it. Another one is we have the market, and also next to the market is a mansion. As you inquire about what that is, you find out that it's the Primwater Mansion. Primwater is one of the predominant businessmen in the town and works with a couple of, sits on the council. Got a number of trade imports and exports. Coming into the you guys going into the council hall. You see a couple of figures in there having a discussion.
Okay.
You have a human female. He's having a discussion with with a gentleman who seems impeccably dressed. For a fishing village, impeccably dressed. Also sitting there and talking with another individual. He's fairly well established looking. They seem to be listening him and talking with him. Come to find out, his name is Iago. The three of them are sitting there and kind of talking as you come in.
What do we hear from their conversation?
The dapper gentleman is talking with Iago about looking for some more guardsmen to help with some shipments that are with some shipments that are coming in, and have to lay over for a few days. You get the sense that any kind of work for this type of job he's the one to talk to for those type of positions.
The dapper gentleman or Iago?
Iago.
Oh, okay.
Should we go talk to that guy? He seems in charge.
Yeah, you could go do that. You're a friendly type.
Oh, well, thank you. That's nice. Okay, I'll go over and talk to him. Does anybody else want to talk to him?
I'll go with you.
Okay.
I'll follow slightly behind.
Okay, cool.
And I'll stand back because I don't trust anybody, especially not a dapper man. Can never trust a dapper man. You can tell that man has not done any work.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna walk up to him and say, "Hi, I'm Fendel."
They kind of stop and look at you and say, "Hello, can we help you with something?"
We're looking for work.
Really? What kind of work?
Yeah. Really? Well, I don't know. What kind of work, guys?
I'll see you.
Offering. By the way, my name is Gavin Temper. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, dapper-looking
Iago,
gentleman looks over and gives you a nod and introduces himself as Graham Primwater.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure. Depending on what you're looking for, I'm sure the pleasure is mine. What can I do for you, fine gentlemen?
Oh, we're looking for work.
Any particular type of work? You don't seem you don't seem like you're a regular traders. Is there a particular skill set or vocation that you pride yourselves in?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
That's cool.
We're looking for work. Do you have anything you need help with? Any jobs or anything like that?
There are always
Maybe
jobs, as I asked. Is there a particular vocation you apply yourself toward?
We like adventure.
All right.
We might be able to help you magically.
Okay. What about you other two gentlemen?
See what?
The other two, the
The half elf and gnome.
Yep, the half elf and gnome.
I motion them to come closer. Oh, come, introduce yourselves. Don't be shy.
I still stand there, arms crossed, kind of looking. And I look at him
I hear
and
about
I
it.
said,
All right.
and I just say, I'm just a bad nombre. So I'm here for intimidation. As much intimidation as a gnome can give.
Iago kind of lifts an eyebrow to you on that.
Whatever needs done.
We are a diverse lot with a particular set of skills that would help you.
Yeah, Iago says, maybe we can talk. There might be something I can help you gentlemen with. And he kind of motions off to the side. Tells Mr. Primwater that he'll be right back to finish up that other business.
Okay.
All right, I'll walk off to the side.
Okay.
Me too.
So Primwater kind of shifts over, talking to the woman in the room, who's been quietly listening to this whole thing, not really, just kind of seeing how this all plays out. As you get over off to the side with the Iago, he goes, "So, you fancy yourselves swords for hire?"
If the price is right.
If the price is right, what kind of price are you thinking?
Well,
Or would you like, or would it be better if I just tell you what the rates are?
that's probably a good idea.
Probably a good idea. Track all my notes.
Oh. I was just like, is she just having a...
Alright, well, I'm in need of some individuals. The going rate is roughly a few gold a week, with the potential of a bonus. And depending on what happens during that week, an exceptional bonus. Would y'all be interested in doing some guard work on a few of the trade ships that are in port?
On a ship?
Yep.
That sounds like fun.
Do you have any landlocked jobs?
I'm not asking you to go out to sea. I'm asking you kind of help patrol the port to make sure that nothing happens to Mr. Primwater's ships as they're in dock for a few days.
Oh, okay. That sounds interesting. Tell us more about, especially the bonuses.
The bonus will be determined whether or not anything will be determined at the end of the week that you serve as guards.
And how much hours a day should we be doing the guard duty? The whole 24 hours?
Oh no,
8
it's a
hours, 16?
it'd be a standard rotating 8-hour shift.
But we would have to cover 24 hours, right?
Yeah, I have some others. You would just fit into that rotation for the week.
Got it.
Fancy Pants, I have a question. What are we guarding?
Not particularly sure, and I don't particularly ask. I'm contracted to provide guards when guards are needed.
Sounds like a good job.
It does sound like an easy job.
For how many days?
That'd be for 1 week.
And the pay is per day how much?
Roughly 1 gold per day plus bonuses. A piece.
That's nice. What do you think, guys? Should we go for it? I think it sounds okay.
Sounds like we're buying a bunch of rounds. After it.
A bunch of what?
A bunch of rounds of ale.
Ah,
Well, that sounds fine to me.
Okay.
Do I get to kill anybody?
Unknown. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Let's hope.
Okay, so we accept.
All right. He leads you out. Toward his residence. Kind of gives you all the rundown, and then we'll kind of. You guys have that week. You stand guard. It's fairly uneventful. You do see that the fishing that has come in and forth has been fairly good. So the town mood in general is fairly optimistic and fairly happy for bountiful harvest. After that week, you go back to collect your pay. All right. That would be you guys receive 1 gold per day, so 5 gold or 7 gold for the week, with an additional 10 gold apiece. So that's 17 gold apiece for your week of guard duty.
Nice.
And while you were able to do that, you're able to collect some info about some of the local goings on and a little more familiar with the town layout. The haunted mansion that you guys were curious about is about 4 or 5 miles outside of town, and there hasn't been a whole lot of. There've been a few people who've gone up there, but pretty much all the rumors are it's haunted of some type. They're not sure what's going on, and most people tend to stay away from it, and they have for years. You do hear that used to be an alchemist who lived there, but he's been long gone.
Do I know anything about him? Can I learn anything about him? Or
Go ahead and roll a history check for me.
is a 15.
can I do that as well?
Yes, you may.
I'm using the D&D digital dice.
Nice.
Yeah, it works really well. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that so far.
Yeah, it's neat.
An 18.
18, nice.
Nice.
All right. Mansion's been abandoned for the better part of 2 decades. Inside, the person who used to own the house was an alchemist of little renown. His name's kind of lost to history, but he was fairly fairly reclusive. He didn't venture out much, which is why nobody really remembers his name. But he mysteriously disappeared, and the house has been abandoned ever since.
So are we done with our work then?
Yes, you've completed your week of work.
Okay, cool. Are we still at the council member guy? Or can I go to him and find him?
Mr. The Primwater?
Yeah, well, I guess what I want to know is if there's like a trade shop in town where they kind of sell odds and ends.
Oh, yes, you do hear about a few of those.
If anyone minds, I have a little bit of shopping to do before we begin anything. I want to buy one or two things.
All right.
If that's okay with everyone else.
All right ahead.
Okay. So I want to go to a trade shop. Specifically, what I'm looking for is a tiny bell or a piece of fine silver wire. Or several tiny bells or several pieces of fine silver wire. So I'm going to walk into the thing and the shop. What kind of shops do I see? Or do I know about?
All right. So we have the weekly market.
Okay.
It's the large market square where you see where you see a gathering of people selling wares and local catches. There's also Hester's Leather Goods, which is a tannery. Here that she's you can check that, or that's another one you can go and check out. The Green Market is just a kind of a simple marketplace along the bridge, near the on the other side of the harbor. Faithful Quartermasters of Ayaz is a trade delegation that is set up shop there. They deal in magical items predominantly, and then up on the hill near the church and the cemetery is Winston's store. He's more of a he's got kind of a jack of all trades there. His motto is solid goods at an honest price.
I would like to go to Winston's store.
Okay.
If anyone else wants to come along, they're more than welcome to.
I'll go.
You go. All right. The rest of the group head up that way too, or do they want to go and check something else out?
I'll stay behind near the square or the near the Primwater mansion.
Okay. All right.
Something I've never seen before.
What's the name of the store that sells magic items? I didn't hear you.
That is the Quartermasters of Uz.
Quartermaster's Eyes.
Yes. Faithful Quartermaster of Eyes. There's that's where they typically deal in magical items. That one is on the other. You'd go from where you guys are. It would be across the bay. So you'd take the main road back across the bridge around to their shop. So we'll start off with Winston's and then kind of work our way back across the map. So Winston's Goods.
Okay, I'm gonna go in and look around.
All right.
Do I see anybody in there? Like, obviously there's a guy working.
Oh yeah, there. You walk in. It's like a pretty good general store. It seems fairly well stocked, and the kind of an older halfling who introduces himself as Winston. And he's the proprietor and owner of this particular shop.
Hello, Winston. It's nice to meet you. I'm Findle.
Hello there, Findle. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm looking for a bell or a little piece of silver wire, if that's something that you carry.
And I would like to use my background, my supply chain feature. It says, from your time as a merchant, you can retain these connections with wholesalers, suppliers, and other merchants and entrepreneurs. You can call upon these connections when looking for items or information.
Okay. All right. He sits there and goes, yeah, I believe I have some of those in stock. And goes and pulls out the bell and the wire.
How much would you charge for something like that?
Oh. You know, about 10 silver and you should be good.
How many gold is that? Like,
That's less than.
Okay, cool.
Exchange rate is 10 copper for 1 silver, 10 silver for 1 electrum, 10 electrum for 1 gold.
Okay. Okay. But I've only got gold, so how do I?
He'll make
wire
change.
Can I buy for 1 gold?
Hmm?
How much wire can I buy for 1 gold?
Oh. He'll give you half a spool for 1 gold.
I will take it.
Alrighty. Goes and unwinds it, hands you the half a spool. It's roughly about 100 feet of silver wire. Thin little silver wire, about the same thickness and diameter as like the copper wire in an Ethernet cable.
Nice.
So it's very fine. You get about 100 feet of that, and the little bell.
Okay, I'm going to stick them both in my backpack and say thank you very much, and I'll leave.
Alrighty.
And that's it.
I'll buy the bell as well.
Oh, okay.
Little bell.
Okay.
How much for the little bell?
The little bell was going to be like 3 or 4 copper. It wasn't going to be too terribly much. But weren't you going over to the quartermasters? Or did you go up to Winston's?
I went I went with the trunket to Winston's. And,
Okay.
Afterwards, I'll see if I'll go to.
Copy that. Copy that. Alrighty. Alright. So while you guys are having this conversation with Winston, we'll come back over to the Primwater Mansion. And what are you looking for? What are you trying to discern over there at the Primwater Estate?
I'm just kind of fascinated with the structure. Since I'm a forest gnome, and I'm an outlander, I'm something I don't see. I'm not used to.
Okay.
And this is kind of like a big deal for me. So I'm just walking around, checking out the structure and the materials and the architecture. Kind of surprised, but kind of. Since I'm kind of judgy, I'm just kind of like, what does a man need with all this? It's big enough to fit a whole city inside.
So to give you an idea, it's a large mansion right on the docks, allowing with a balcony with large windows, and occasionally as you're watching, you see one of the windows open, and then you hear Galen call out instructions to his ship captains and whatnot, because most of his ships actually dock right there next to the mansion. So that allows him to oversee and kind of instruct what happens. It's got a large grand entryway. And while you guys were on guard duty, you heard about every week he hosts these elaborate dinner parties, and it's the talk of the town for the following day. Because he caters these with food and drink from out that come in on the trade ships that he manages. So it's quite an interesting sight while you're watching all this, the bustle of activity and going with what you were saying. It's like, why does anybody need this much? This is crazy. But you get the sense that he's the one that likes to party and make sure everyone feels good, so that everybody has his name on their lips whenever they think about a good party.
Yeah. Okay. So he's the Great Gatsby of
Yeah,
of
pretty
the
much.
area.
Pretty much.
I guess I'm just sitting there kind of, oh, there goes Mr. Fancy Pants. I see him. I wonder what kind of dinner parties he has. I wonder if he has the best of the squirrels like we do in the forest. I wonder if he has the best chipmunk. Huh? This guy, I can't imagine he has enough chipmunk to provide for everybody.
Unknown. Guess you have to see. And while you're kind of doing this and whatever, your two companions come back from Winston's store. You guys are now kind of there in the center. If you still wanted to go to the quartermaster's, you could take that route to head over to the quartermaster.
Yeah, that would be probably a good idea.
I'll follow along.
Alrighty. So, coming over to the quartermaster. So you step into this shop and you see it's got a variety of various items, and standing there in the back is a female tiefling. And she's currently examining some item. Not sure. Looks like maybe a rod of some type. I'm not really sure, but she's looking at it pretty intently and then making some notes in a journal.
Hi, my name is Gavin Ashdane Temper. Nice to meet you.
Charmed.
You seem to have a nice artifact right there. Have you?
It's mediocre. I'm probably not going to get much for it.
What does it do?
It looks like it's just a simple rod of extension. It's not terribly fancy, but I have a buyer in Neverwinter who is curious for this.
A rod of extension? What does it do?
Oh yeah, I'm very interested in that.
Say the command and it extends from 2 feet to 10 feet and then back again.
Wow. Can I see?
That's very useful. What are you selling it for to that buyer in Neverwinter?
He is his contract. He is roughly 5 gold for this. Are you saying you have a better price you willing to pay for it? I lost your audio.
I said perhaps. I'm using push to talk.
Okay.
Okay.
Out of character, guys, you could go over to your nicknames at the left and press the right mouse button and select change nickname to suit your character, and it will be presented here near your videos.
Yes, that would definitely be helpful for trying to keep track of names.
Just doing that now.
Okay.
I totally forgot about that. Actually.
I'll ask the tiefling.
That's better.
The
For her
tiefling
name.
introduces herself as Captain Xanderos.
Captain Xanderos. So she has a military back. So you have a military background, I presume.
It's the title because I lead this particular group. We're not from this particular area. We kind of migrated here to make some purchases and be kind of a go-between for our organization back on the other side of the sea.
The other side of the sea.
Yes, over on the Eberron continent.
Oh.
Okay.
I see. And what other you sell magical items? So what other magical items do you have available and at what price?
It varies from week to week. Is there any
Of course.
figures you would ask me that? Of course you would ask me that.
Yes, of course I would.
Of course you would.
Sorry, guys. I've had some technical issues. Hopefully, it's working.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I can hear you fine now.
Yes, it seems to be working.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you guys now. I wasn't for a little while, so I was completely lost, but I
That's
think I
really
got it
strange.
fixed.
Yeah, it seems
My
much better
computer's
now.
not the greatest.
Yeah, you're coming through nice and clear now.
Do you perhaps have any spells? Spell scrolls or something like that?
Yeah, she does have two spell scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
I would very much like to buy that rod from you.
My buyers was asking for 5 gold. Did you have a better price you were willing to pay?
I can give you 6 gold.
Give me a persuasion check.
Ooh, 10.
Yeah. All right. She thinks about it. It's like, all right. Saves me the trouble of having to transport it.
Fantastic.
Cool.
We'll give her 6 gold.
I'll shake my head and say, it's going to be less ale for all of us.
But look what I got, a stick that grows.
I could go somewhere
It
with
is
that,
cool.
but I'm not.
It still weighs 7 pounds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like what is it that I'm adding?
If you go in and look under the equipment, it would. Keep me right now.
Rod of elongation.
Yeah.
Oh. Pole of collapsing.
Pole of collapsing.
And the scrolls are a couple of scrolls with the. She tells you it's for healing word is the spell.
You don't have any arcane spells?
It is healing word is, isn't it? It should be.
Or bards?
Ah, here we go.
You're looking.
Collapse.
Is there a particular school of magic you're interested in?
Well, I was kind of like wanting to see what you have for first level. Particularly, maybe something that deals damage. Perhaps an identify scroll.
He takes a look through the back and pulls out. Well, I have one for identify, and I have one for comprehend languages.
And how much would be for each?
The 5 gold each.
5 gold each. That's very, very good. I'll take both.
All right. And add a scroll of identify and a scroll of comprehend languages and your inventory.
And subtract 10 gold.
Yes.
Got it.
And subtract 10 gold.
Okay.
Else?
I'm not looking to buy anything.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay.
Okay.
Guys exit the shop. What would you like to do now?
So we know about the haunted house?
Yes. In your week you've spent there working, and in your downtime, you have you have learned where the house is, and learned some of the history behind the house. It's been abandoned for about 2 decades. The alchemist who lived there is just vanished, unknown. Most of the locals tend to stay away from there.
Does this sound like something we might want to take a look at? There might be treasures.
We might want to talk to that guy that is near the cemetery that collects lore. He might be able to know some things that we might expect if we visit that house.
That's an excellent idea. I had forgotten about him. I get excited sometimes.
Good idea, Gavin.
It's okay, my little friend. We've got your back.
Ah, great.
You will go first, as always.
All right.
I kid, drunk it.
Alrighty. Alright, so you guys make your way back through and back up the hill. As you pass Winston's store, you get your eyes on what appears to be a church or some type of temple, and then off to the side from there is this large graveyard with quite a number of various gravestones, and there's a small hut kind of off to the side behind the church as you enter the cemetery area.
And the guy that we're looking for lives, as we have heard, in that small house.
Yes. Yes. His name is Crag, and he is a half orc.
A half orc.
Hmm?
Maybe we should gather before we knock at his door.
Okay.
You know, safety in numbers and all that.
Sure.
He's probably a nice guy.
Probably.
I think that about everyone.
I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I said,
He's probably a nice guy. I think that of everyone. So
Ah, okay, okay.
Can never trust a half orc. Or an orc for that matter.
oh, definitely not.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I usually am pretty have a skepticism of pretty much everybody I meet. So I'm kind of like don't trust anything or anyone.
I don't I get that impression.
Just a bit.
All right, so you guys all kind of gather amongst yourselves before knocking on the door.
Yeah.
All right. You go and knock on the door. Door opens. You see this kind of middle-aged half orc. Is kind of standing there and asks, "Can I help you?"
Hello. My name is Gavin Ashdane Temper. Nice to meet you. We have heard that you might know something about the haunted house and that you collect lore. We would very much like to indulge in conversation with you about said topics if you would be interested to help us.
All right. Could take a few minutes. I'm just in the process of translating something for Mr. Eleander. So, what would you like to know about the mansion?
You said you were translating something. Right?
Yes, I tend to. When I'm not tending to the cemetery and the stones here, I offer my services as a translator to Eleander. It's fairly. In the process of the conversation, you realize he's actually fairly articulate and knowledgeable and can speak a variety of languages. And he tends to work on that translation on the side. Eleander.
We know about Eleander, right?
Recap so I can give you some info on Eleander. Eleander Fireborn is the name is fairly well known for doing work in the the Mire Dead Men and some of the local forests, working on trying to keep the area at bay. Suffered an injury, and now and lost a leg in the process. He one of the council members and tends to and has his residence. He's also very learned. Speaks a variety of languages.
And what is the name of the half-orc?
Half-orc's name is Crag.
Oh yeah, Crag.
Krag.
What can you tell us about this house?
There was a alchemist who lived there probably 30 years ago. Very quiet fellow. Never really ventured out much. There were a few things he would have that would come through for delivery to him, but not a whole lot. Very curious. The houses were very quiet for years. It wasn't until recently that all of a sudden there's these discussions about the house being haunted. There's even been a couple of disappearances. I'm quite curious as the nature of the haunting. And then, of course, there's also rumors of he was fairly wealthy, and that there might be some locked vault of some type where his wealth was there, but haven't really heard much or anything to substantiate that.
That sounds very interesting. What can you tell us about the alchemist who used to live there?
He wasn't of any particular renown. I think he was came from the. I think he migrated here from the host tower when the host tower fell years ago.
The host tower?
Yes, the host tower of the Arcane in Luskin. A number of years ago, it had collapsed and was recently rebuilt. With that, anybody want to roll a history check?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh. 10.
10. Okay.
An 8.
All right. Anyone else rolling that history check?
Yeah. 1 second.
Okay.
Come on, guys. We can do this.
I have no doubts.
You might have overheard something like
Got a 6.
like an 18 on a dice.
Unfortunately, I got a 6.
A 6, an 8, a 10. Okay. Oh, with that, you can't really place when, but listening to Craig talk about these events, and you gotta get the feeling that the alchemist who lived there was one of the long-lived races, because some other rumors that you heard is the host tower fell almost 100 years ago, and then was rebuilt maybe about 20 to 30 years ago. So roughly, there's some. It's a long time, but it definitely doesn't. You definitely get the impression that the alchemist who lived there was definitely not a human or any of the short-lived species. Most short-lived races. Most likely, probably an elf, maybe a dwarf. Kind of live that quiet life. Which helps with the possibility if there is any type of lost wealth. It might be old, and there might be something. It might be substantial. Not sure.
Does that sound like the kind of thing you guys are interested in checking out? I want to go see if there's treasure.
Sure, but we would need to scout the area ahead. So
I agree.
Does anyone have a familiar with them?
Not me.
I'm familiar with that.
I guess I'll have to employ mine then. I'll have to go back to the quartermaster's eyes. Faithful quartermaster's eyes.
Okay.
To buy some spell components, a brazier, some incense, some herbs, if the tiefling deals with that.
They would, but given your current location, Winston's would probably be a closer, and considering according to Fiddle, talking with him, he was able to pick up his components for his bell and his wires. So stands the reason you could probably get those types of things at Winston's as well.
Okay, I'll go to Winston's. And remind me, I write everything that I can remember, but I didn't write out the name of the tiefling captain.
Yes, her name.
Captain Zed.
The Captain Xandros, Xendros, female tiefling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going over to Winston's, give him your shopping list, and he's able to amass everything together for about... What is it you're looking for? How many items?
Just a sec.
Okay.
I would need 10 gold pieces worth of charcoal, incense, and herbs. And I would need a small brass brazier.
Okay.
Maybe some wood for making a fire. For starting a fire.
All right. All of that, 12 gold, and you can take care of all of that.
You can easily start a fire.
Okay. I'll take that.
Alrighty.
It's good to be a noble.
Got them deep pockets, yo.
Yep. I'm making it rain.
Nice.
Alrighty. So, you have your spell components. You have everything you need. What is you guys would like to do next?
Do we want to? Do we want to go check out this haunted house? I don't think it's haunted. I don't believe in ghosts.
Is there anyone that's in the city that's attempted the trek to the haunted mansion, or at least ventured into it?
Go ahead and roll me a investigate or perception check.
Perception.
I'd like to help him.
Okay. If that's the case, then roll your check with advantage. The two d20s and take the higher of the two numbers.
I'm sorry, what are you rolling for? I was writing down something.
He would like to know whether or not anyone has ventured to the house. Given that you guys have spent a weekend, there's a chance you guys may have heard something.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart.
So we'll do a perception, and since there's an assist, we'll do the perception with advantage.
Mine, I rolled a 9.
That's the that's the highest.
With
I don't know.
It's an advantage. So you roll your dice twice.
Oh, okay.
Whatever the higher the two numbers is, that's your roll. That's your one you add your modifier to.
Okay. Yeah, 1 second. So
We didn't find out that Craig's about
Yeah.
the layout of the mansion or something like that.
He gives you a basic description. It's a basic description that there was it's got a large garden around it. The house is approximately 2 stories. Not as grand as some of the ones in town, but functional for a single occupant the occupant that he's described. What'd you get on the dice roll?
So 9 was the highest. The last one I wrote a nat 1.
Ooh.
With my modifier was a 2.
Good thing you have that advantage. All right. Unfortunately, you didn't hear about any. All you basically heard as far as about the house is that it's haunted and people tend to stay away. There hasn't been anyone in a while who has tried to venture up to that house.
Hey, again, do we want to go to this house?
I have a question. If I make my familiar in the shape of a spider, how big is it? Is it like a house spider or like a tarantula or what?
I would say I'll leave that for your discretion as far as semantics. But it is definitely not going to be like a giant spider.
You mean it's not Shelob? Come on.
No, it's not Shelob.
I was more interested in it being stealthy. So,
yeah, any size of a normal spider, tiny creature that's within that size constraint. It's just if you didn't know if you were inquiring, maybe let me make like a giant spider and I can kind of sit on him and ride. That way I don't have to walk so far. So that's why I was like, no. This is like he can kind of chill on your shoulder and be another 4 sets of eyes.
Yeah. Giddy up, arachnid.
How much feet could it cover if it was like a house spider? I presume it wouldn't be able to cover much in a turn.
Spiders are pretty fast. I'd say probably cover 15 to 20 feet per round.
That's cool. That's neat. And it would probably go undetected because the place is abandoned and there's probably spiders all over it. So
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the definitely has a it'll definitely have a strong advantage on stealth.
Cool.
Cool. I guess we'll go to the abandoned mansion, near the abandoned mansion. To be correct.
Does everybody else want to do that too?
I say we go check it out.
All right.
Before we go, can I also inquire with the townsfolk about anyone venturing into the mansion?
Oh yeah. So, spider question. It has 20 feet of movement and a stealth +4. Dark vision 30 feet. Passive perception of 10.
Nice.
It could definitely be It could definitely be helpful.
Nice.
As for the other question, you want to inquire if anyone else has been in the mansion. Where do you want to make that inquiry?
I would go at the 2 taverns that we visited.
Okay. So the tavern most likely to know that. Second, I have right to go.
One we were initially at had the soldiers or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, Crags.
Okay. There is the snapping line, there is the empty net, and then there's the wicker goat. The wicker goat, the empty net happens to be one of the ones that is the most rowdy. The snapping line tends to be frequented by most of the fishers and the sailors and the laborers. The empty net would be more of a criminal and smuggler's den.
So we won't go to the empty nets, at least for now.
Yeah, let's avoid that.
For now.
For now.
Well, for now, yeah, we'll come back and clear it out later.
All right.
We may need the practice, though, mates.
I'm just saying we never know when a business opportunity might show up, and yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That's
an
fair.
Excellent point.
All right.
No, we won't go to the empty net.
Oh no, not the empty net. It was the
The wickered goat.
snapping line. The snapping line is the one with the fishermen and the laborers, or the common folk.
Yeah, we'll go to the snapping line.
Alrighty.
Sure.
All right. So it's fairly popular because the snapping line is right next to the council hall and right across from the weekly market. So there's a lot of traffic up in here. As you come to see on it, you see it looks like it's kind of a hodgepodge of building materials because the tavern was built out of many decommissioned fishing vessels. So it's got a very unique nautical thing to it.
Cool.
So you walk in, there's like fishing nets draped on the wall for aesthetics and things like that. And all points of the day, it's a fairly toward the latter half of the afternoon at this point, and work is stopping at the docks, and the people are steadily flowing into the taverns to start their evening festivities.
I'll go to the. Is the innkeeper currently busy with orders, or is he standing there awaiting one?
The bartender is looking pretty busy, but there's a young woman standing off to the side, kind of surveying everything. You get the impression that she might be the one in charge. And, she's not terribly busy. She's just kind of watching everything, kind of making sure everything's running smoothly. Her name is Hannah Rist.
I approach her.
Okay.
And I say, "Hi, my name is Gavin Ashdane Temper. Nice to meet you. I presume you're the proprietor of this fine establishment?"
Goes, yeah, she sits there and tells you yes. Her family has been running this tavern for many years.
And your name, young lass,
Is she introduced herself as Hannah.
Hannah. Nice to meet you, Hannah. I would like to order some ale for me and my friends over there, and perhaps you might be able to help me with some inquiry I have, since you have a very busy establishment, as I see.
Yes, the fishermen have been quite happy over after the last several days with their fishing nets being full. There have been times where it's been pretty miserable. Right now, it seems to be a high point, so which is good for business. But yes, I'll have some ale sent over there. Would you guys like to partake in your evening meal?
What do you have in
Our
the way of meals?
Our house specialty is lobster.
Ooh, lobster. Okay, we'll take how much? We'll take 4 lobsters.
Okay.
Some ale, and how much would be for that?
4 of our house platters and some ale. That would be 2 gold. And
Most excellent. And you were
And-
saying?
it's going to be about 2 gold, and if you want to have continued rounds, it'll be a gold per round as each come.
Okay. I'll ask her now. Say, Hannah, would you happen to overhear something about that haunted mansion that's in this fine city, fine small town?
Oh, she sits there and thinks for a minute. Go and roll a persuasion check.
Okay. A 15.
A 15. All right. She sits there and tells you that she's heard of it. She's heard the rumors that it's haunted. She doesn't know anyone who's recently come up there, but she basically retells you the same things you've been hearing. That it's everybody seems to stay away from it. She does kind of give the indication that some of the people who work for Primwater are a lot more interested in propagating that rumor than any of the other crews and workers, so to speak.
Propagating the rumor that it's haunted.
Yes, they seem to be the ones that most. Anytime it comes up, it's somebody who works for Primwater is real big on sitting there and spreading that. But she kind of dismisses it as a coincidence. Maybe it just seems weird, but the rumor is pretty prevalent to just stay away and haven't heard of anybody. Haven't been able to talk to anybody who's actually been up to the house and back.
But do you know someone who might know if someone was in the house?
She does. She can't give you any names she can recall right now. And as you're having this conversation, a couple of the wait staff come and talk to her, and she's kind of splitting her attention from keeping things running smoothly and answering your questions.
Okay, Hannah. I thank you for your time. You have been most helpful.
Much
I
appreciated.
will
Hope you
go.
enjoy. Hope you enjoy your meal.
Will do. Thank you again. Thank you again.
All right.
You're very helpful. I'll go to my to our table and await the meal
All right.
and sip my ale.
Oi, so what she tell you?
Well, she basically hasn't heard of anyone entering the mansion, but she did point out an interesting fact that there is always been a Primwater man uh, who uh, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
brain tilt. There has always been some of Primwater's men who were responsible for propagating the rumor that the house is haunted. That the
I
mansion
told
is
you
haunted.
you couldn't trust that fancy pants guy. Told you.
Is Primwater a noble also?
He's a council member, and he runs one of the largest uh, businesses in town.
Do I know of
In,
any
in
nobles?
in in discussing this, you're I'm working on his name. Gilly sits there and recounts the time hanging out in front of the Primwater Mansion and seeing all the bustle of activity. And even as you guys have spent the week working the docks as security, as a subcontract for Primwater, you've seen a lot of comings and going. You see some people that are a little shifty. Then there are some people who are not so shifty.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
This Primwater's a bit of an unsavory character, if you ask me.
He does seem like it, doesn't he?
You can't trust a man that has a house big enough for a city and only one person living in it.
Kind of makes you wonder what he's hiding in there.
as you guys are
Barely.
having this conversation, a couple of people nearby are like, "Oh, Primwater throws the best parties. He's always bringing in people to entertain. There was a play here just 2 weeks from Waterdeep. That was great." And they just you hear various stages of drunken revelry, and a lot of praise for Primwater. As you guys sit there and start questioning the conspiracy, any potential conspiracy, you're hearing just as many people vouching that he's up and up, and that he's always something positive to say about Primwater. So it's really weird.
Well, he seems like a swell guy.
Yeah, you can't trust him though, because if his people are sitting there saying something, there must be something inside this haunted mansion that they're trying to protect. You can't trust the man. You can't trust the fancy pants.
I
Uh,
agree with Gilly.
Scuba, is there a noble inside Saltmarsh except me?
Yeah, there's several. Primwater is
Several.
one. Most of the council members would be considered the town nobility, like yourself. Even Iber, who hired you guys to work the docks, he definitely had an air of not of someone who's been around some of the upper echelons of society. You get a sense that his bearing is very polished, and
Posh.
you get all and whatnot. Trying to find the word here. But he's definitely got a bearing and kind of a command authority type. Even the other council members that you've briefly seen, you can definitely see there's a number of noble houses. I think the only one who is as far as in terms with even Hannah, her family is fairly prominent within Saltmarsh. Other Owland. She's the senior member on the council. Her family's been there quite a number of while. Primwater, the Eldar Fireborn. Minstred's
this
kind of a
is
noble,
it.
but she's more or less, but she's only there because she's running the Dwarven mine, and she's a prominent figure because they want to make sure the dwarves have a vote in the town politics. There's Solmar, Anders Solmar. He's a kind of a young man who's inherited his family's fishing fleet. Quite a few of them in this town. Not nearly as many as Waterdeep, but definitely enough for the town politics to be interesting.
Sure.
Can I can I call over Hannah?
Sure. Go ahead and roll a persuasion. See if you catch her attention to get her to come by your table.
This is gonna be fun. 1 second.
Use your inspiration. To
Inspiration.
roll better.
Right.
I don't. If you can self-inspire, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let's see.
I was just projecting that that he should use this on this very important role.
Yeah. I did, and it's a 20, not 20.
Oh, nice.
20.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she comes over and brings the next round of ale for you guys. Because obviously things are very busy, and she's not above helping her staff keep things calm and efficient. Comes over, sits down the new drinks, and inquires, "What are you guys enjoying? Everything?" And of course, by now your food has definitely come, and you've had a chance to savor it.
Everything's
you, love.
delicious.
Thank you, love, for coming over. I appreciate the food and the ale. But I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
The question I have is, what do you know about this Primwater filler? What can you tell me about the family?
They've been in Saltmarsh almost about as long as mine has, and Galen, he very big on trying to keep everyone happy. Throws a lot of lavish parties, a lot of lavish festivals. Very big on trying to keep things on the up and up. He's also very much in the era of trying to keep Saltmarsh functioning in amongst itself. All this new activity with the lightning rail construction and the dwarves moving in. It's not exactly sitting well with certain groups within town.
Yeah, you can't switch it. You can't trust a dwarf either. But the question I also have is, have you ever been inside of his city, his mansion, I mean?
Oh yes, I just last week I was in there for one of his dinner parties.
Oh, how do you get invited to one of these things?
Well, depending on if you work well, if you do a job for him and do well. Also, if you're a relatively upstanding member of the community, he tends to have room for a lot of the town to come and visit.
Maybe if we were to do a job for him, we could get invited to one of his parties, and then we could go inside his house.
True. What are the
Or
exploits?
if not for him, then jobs for other people in town. You have to be somewhere your name is more recognized.
Oh, he'll remember us after a while. What other exploits is he in?
Say that again.
What other type of exploits is he in?
He does a lot of import-exports,
Okay.
as well as some. He has a relatively moderate fishing, but a lot of his stuff is trade in and out. Not nearly as predominant as Solomon, but the two of them are fairly competitive.
Well, I just wanted to ask, but just keep the rounds coming, there, lass.
As long as it's flowing, it'll definitely be coming. Gives you a wink and wanders off.
Excuse me, how much for the round of ale?
It's
I'm
one gold.
asking
It
you
was
as-
1 gold per round, is what she said.
1 gold per round.
Yes.
And we've taken 1 round and 1 round. That would be 1 gold for now. And he ordered another round, so that would be 2 gold on top of the 2 gold I paid for the lobsters and the beer. And the ale.
Yes. That would be 4 gold total on your tab right now.
Okay, we better stop. We don't want to be drunk.
That's true.
All right.
So what does everyone want to do?
Well, it's getting to be early evening by this point. Sun is definitely set. The activity is bustling.
Okay. Is it too late to go and visit this house then, or should we rest and then go in the morning?
I say rest. You don't want to go with a drunk. 'Cause right now, I'm feeling a bit. I don't have my sea legs. And,
Roll a
I'm
Constitution check.
being rolled by the waves.
Everyone,
You know what I mean?
Yeti.
What's that?
everyone roll a Constitution save.
Yeah, we can do everybody roll a Constitution check.
14.
Nice.
11.
18.
An 8.
All right. Gilly, you actually feel pretty good. It's the rest of the group that you kind of seeing are getting a little tipsy here.
So
As you're sitting there talking about not getting your sea legs, you're watching the three of them looking a little not drinking as fast as they were.
You can't trust a man that can't hold down his own fizzy juice.
Hey, you cannot talk to me like that. Come here, you're my best friend.
No, just relax, all of you. I think we should all go to bed and then get up in the morning.
Yeah, that would be probably a good idea.
I'll take it.
Come on, Gavin, another round.
I've had more than enough. I'm gonna go get a robe.
Sounds like you're trying to test me gangster, so I may have to take another round with you.
How much does the room cost?
The room will be 10 silver a night.
I would like to rent one of your finest rooms before I fall down.
Hannah just kind of shakes her head. Says, "Not a problem."
All right, thank you.
Before Gilly orders another round, my character suddenly becomes very, very sober and says, "You're going to be paying for that, not me. I'm off to my room now." And then I become totally drunk again.
Hey, I know people like that. All right,
Sorry,
so
Eddie.
y'all spend the night drinking and crash and wake up the next morning moderately hungover as you come down for morning breakfast, which is all of your normal favorite breakfast foods: meats, potatoes, breads, breakfast beers.
No beers.
No
You need to be
beers
sober.
for me, thanks. Well, should we go investigate this haunted house?
Yes, we should. But before we go, I'll go to my room. I'll close the door behind me.
Okay.
Uh, I'll pull out my small brazier and I'll summon my familiar with a ritual. Before I go, I will tell the rest of the gang that what I'll do. I'll whisper to them, so that it would take about an hour or so for me to do that
All
as a
right.
ritual.
I don't mind waiting for you.
Okay.
You're so sweet.
All right. So you go up and you cast your ritual. Your familiar is summoned. You have a.
It will be a celestial type, and it will be in the form of a house spider.
Okay.
I will put it gently inside. I will have it gently enter my pocket, uh, and I'll go downstairs and say to the gang, "All right, I'm ready now. Let's go."
All righty.
Am I curious at all what he's doing?
Who said that?
Nah, never. It's okay. Forget it. I don't want to.
He said he
said
had
what I'm
to.
going
He
to-
said he was going to go.
What's
He was
that?
going to go up and make sure. He let you know what he was going to do in kind of a quiet tone, so no one overheard. Went up to his room, summoned the familiar, and then came back down. So, in that time, you pretty much have gone through your meal, and then we're just kind of waiting with patiently as he came down.
Okay, never mind.
Okay,
Alright.
let's go. I whisper to them, let's go to the house.
Okay.
Quivel, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Is anything anyone would like to do before they leave town?
No,
Okay, yeah.
it's not me. Anyways, not me. I should say.
Quibble, what about you? We haven't heard from you much, I know, because you had some tech stuff. Is there any? Want to make sure you have equal opportunity to do some stuff in town.
I think I'm good in town. It's just, I think I missed the whole point of why we were going to go to this so-called haunted house.
For treasure, of course.
It doesn't sound like it's really a haunted house, so I'm just kind of curious.
Well, there might be treasure. There was an old alchemist who used to live there, apparently. I don't know who he is, but he might have some things there.
Does he still lives there?
I don't think so. He disappeared a while ago. Nobody really knows where he went.
Okay, that's why I was confused for a little while. So I was just kind of listening.
Oh yeah, no, he's not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Scuba, would now be the best time to inquire from where my family is, from which city?
We'll have to. I think we'll need to talk offline on that. We're coming up right on our
Okay.
end. So I was wanted to make sure we were in town. Then gonna
Okay.
for kind of our cliffhanger before next week is a preliminary description on the house, and then kind of we'll go from there. We'll pick it up again next week. So,
We'll go to the house then.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
Alrighty, the road to the house winds through rocky coastal terrain, often offering a view of the sea below. Low clouds press upon you, occasional patches of sunlight appear out over the water. Stiff wind blows in off the waves, carrying a briny stink of churning salt air. The decrepit house sits at the highest point in the area. Around it, a stone wall has crumbled in many places, exposing the interior grounds. An ornate metal gate lies open at the end of the road, swaying slightly in the wind. Wild flora grows throughout the inner yard, but all the years cannot hide the evidence of a well-tended garden that once sat here. Near the house is a rotten wood roof of a water well rises out of the tall grass. That is where we will end our first session of Challenge Accepted. And pick this up again next week, 3 p.m. on the Scuba Studio Twitch channel. Thank you all for participating. I know we kind of a rocky start to get started, but I think we're starting to set a good tone. How did y'all feel about this?
I think it's going to be fantastic. It'll be really good. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Everybody,
Turn the video off to get better sound. So
Yeah.
okay. See what we can do. See what I can do about that, tech wise. But everybody having fun. Everybody liking things so far.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Almost
This is fantastic.
Awesome.
that part wasn't as involved as I wanted to be, but
You know, this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. So
Yeah,
hopefully
absolutely.
it's a nice long marathon, and we'll see how the adventure goes. I had a few people in chat. Thank you, chat, for hanging out with us. All the anybody who's checked out and watched our show, and I'll put this up on YouTube and put out an audio version through podcast. And with that. Y'all have a great weekend. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.
Right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.